On the show today, we discuss how to protect your energy when channeling or when just doing ordinary things. Our symbol today is bats, the flying kind, and as always, we interpret the dreams you sent in during the week. Welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show about dreams and their meanings. I'm Michael Sheridan, and with me in studio is Heidi Brooke, our resident medium, and Susan Pullen, our shamanic healer and life coach.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks to everyone who sent dreams to radioShow at dream-analysis.com. Please continue to send them in as we need them for next week's show. I mean that. Don't hold them back. You can always jump the queue and call us on 425-373-5527, and we will analyse your dream, connect with your guides for advice, or provide life coaching advice today. After the break, we'll be talking about protecting your space. But right now, we're going to have a look at some dreams. So what have we got to begin with, Susan?
So we've got two from the same dreamer. The first one is, I'm sitting at a table in a restaurant. The only thing on the table is a white tablecloth. I have two waiters approach me, one from the right and one from the left. One has an empty glass in his hand. The other one has a pitcher of water. They stop when they get to the sides of my table, and both of them lean over the table and cross each other's arms at the elbow. That's when I woke up. Okay,
so a very straightforward dream, nice and short. Usually the short dreams are really good. There's something positive in the short dreams. And here it's a coming together of two guides, because the waiters are guides. So it's a coming together. They're providing a glass of water. I mean, it seems very straightforward. But it's saying to the dreamer, when you're looking for something, you're asking for help, you don't need to get the solution all in one go. So you could get a bit of help from here and a bit of help from there. So don't be concerned that you don't necessarily, if it's channeling, for instance, that you don't get all the answers. You might get something that then triggers another question that then later on you can get the full thing. But here it's more about bringing abilities from the past, because the waiters are behind her, to your future, because they actually cross their arms in front of her. You could look at the glass being a psychic ability and the water being life. So it's bringing her spiritual abilities to the forefront, putting them on the table for her. And then the white is going to be about something that's pure. So it's a positive thing. And you got something to add to that one, Heidi?
Just that her guides were telling me that this dream is also representing that she's coming into full awareness of her spiritual abilities.
Excellent. I'm always afraid that if I get to full awareness, it'd be like if I say to my guys, my gosh, I can hear you completely clearly. Oh, wait, I'm dead, haven't I? That's just me. That's a joke.
A little death
I can see
humor.
that. Yeah, that's because we're assisting your transition. Yeah.
All right. What have you got there?
Okay. I was sitting in the back seat of my car and I'm watching two birds. They're in the car with me. They're free, not in a cage, and jumping all around. One is red and white, the other is black and white. They take turns chasing each other and pecking on each other.
Okay, so when you've got two dreams like this that you have in the same night or in succession, if the second one's really positive and you're puzzled about the first one, you know it's going to be positive. So this one's really good as well. Birds represent goals, and this particular lady really likes birds. She has bird feeders and things like that, but not in a mad cat lady kind of way. So they represent freedom and goals, and also a knowledge of your goals because of her knowledge of birds and so on. And they're in the car with you. That's really good, because the car is about striving to achieve your goals. So you've got it. So you know what they are. You just now need to start using them on your journey, or free them on your journey like it shows in the car. Then they're jumping around. One is red and white. That's always a really good combination, colour combination. It always asks you to have joy and hope for the future. So it's your guide's way, or your higher self's way of saying it's okay to expect really good things to happen. Some people kind of think they jinx it if they expect that, or who am I to ask for really good things? But here it's saying, look, we want you to have a philosophy of life where you expect only good things to happen to you. And then the black and white is something that you need to drop. So it's showing you've got a choice here. You can either be that way, you can either be free and open and expect good things, or you can be kind of judgmental, which is what the black and white is going to represent about things. And this is kind of similar to your previous dream. The guides come separately from the past because they're behind you. So it's separate things from the past coming together that give you this ability, psychic ability that you have. And anyway, that's what this one is. And did you have something else on that one? Yes, you did.
Just referring to some of the good things that are to come. It's specifically for her, this is ascension, awareness of ascension, and using her abilities from a much higher plane.
So everybody's getting free ascension on the show in the last few weeks. Yeah, that's much better.
They must be listening to their dreams.
I'm thinking of Caddyshack, Bill Murray. The Dalai Lama gives him enlightenment instead of a tip. Enlightenment on his deathbed.
Nice.
You had to be there. What do we got next?
So this one is a female dreamer. I flew to Taiwan with my daughter. We spent time in a hotel and then it was time to leave to go home. I packed up the back basket of a bicycle with my purse, maybe a shoe, can't remember everything, and we rode for quite a while to get to the bus stop, which would take us to the airport. When I got to the bus stop, I realized that I'd left my ID in my coat, in the hotel room closet. I was freaking out because I needed my ID to fly and couldn't believe I'd left my coat. I was trying to decide how much time I had left until the flight and if we had time to take a taxi to go get my stuff and make it to the airport on time. At the bus stop, there were two women waiting on a bench. I remember being mostly concerned about the ID. Okay,
so it's always important to know when you're sending in a dream if you're doing a therapy or not. And this dreamer told us that she is. She's been doing cutting the ties. And why it's important to know is it tells you what is the therapy is working on rather than what you need to do. So if we didn't know that, I would be saying you need to work on issues with your mom. Now, clearly she is, and that's going to bring them up, and it's going to bring them up stronger than they normally would be in reality. So that's a good thing because it brings up the issues so that you can look at them and then deal with them and then express any anger, any sadness, etc. that goes, or frustration in your case, that goes with the issues with your mom. And your mom was obviously judgmental, and that's what we have here at the end. The bus stop, there were two women waiting on a bench. So this is saying, go back to the age 2. And this is a stage you need to look at in your life. You still need to look at in doing this process. It also, because you're a channel, it can be pointing out that your channeling is affected by your mom's critical nature. So what else have we got in this dream? We have the hotel, tells us it's right at the start of your life. Reception at birth is what a hotel is about. Time to leave and go home, that's good in a dream. But you pack up the basket of a bicycle. A bicycle is about the female side, and working with your mom is going to open the heart. That's all female, of course. So bicycle is about balance. But here you're packing things into it. That's not good in the dream. So it still says you still have baggage that you're carrying from your mom. So you're not all the way there yet. Now this dream is, it's actually quite new. So you're not all the way there yet. So keep following the process. You ride for a while to get to the bus stop that gets you to the airport. The airport's good here because this is where you're going. That's your goal with this is to, to have a departure, start a new project, you could say, or a new phase of your life, which is also what the bus stop is about. And I'm looking here. You left your ID in your coat, which is in the hotel room. So a coat is a protection device. We had that in a show recently. It's not a good thing in a dream because it protects us from the elements, and everything in it. Clothes represent attitudes, but and a coat then would represent having an attitude of protection, like you don't let people in. So this dream is about, or cutting the ties is about you letting people in, letting people get to see the real you. So it's bad you lost the ID, but it's not bad that you didn't bring the coat. So you do want to get back your true nature.
Can you say more about the ID?
The ID represents her. It's like, who am I? So she's trying to get to who she is with this therapy. So if I was to imagine I came into life, wasn't affected negatively in any way, what would I be like now? And that's, or what did I have? What powers did I have? What, was different about me at the beginning? And that's what the ID is going to represent. Signing your signature, things like that can represent the same thing. She was freaking out because she needed her ID to fly around and couldn't believe. Okay, so I think we've done everything else. So you look at the freaking out and you look at any other emotions that the dream brings up. Those emotions are the feelings that were present in your life when you had the issues with your mom at the start and up to age 2. So that's what you got to deal with. When you've dealt with those feelings won't go up in your life anymore. And that's the whole goal.
So we have another dream from the same dreamer. It's called Power Company Turned Off Christmas Lights. And
this dream is from more than a week before the other one. So we'll expect it to be worse because she's already in the therapy. Oh, there's another thing we didn't say. The taxi. If you're thinking of going for counselling to help with the process of dealing with the issues with your mom, that's a good idea. That's what the taxi represents. Don't do any energy work, but to go to counselling, getting counselling from a qualified, good counsellor, because there's lots of bad ones, they can work miracles. It's really, really good. So it's always something I would recommend. But you have to find somebody who's good, find somebody that you know has helped a friend of yours or has helped somebody else, and particularly if they're like you. And, because that's the big thing with a counsellor. You have to get to this stage where you trust them, and you even if you think, okay, I'm paying money, I'll open up fast. It doesn't work like that. You have to get to that level where you're just being open and being yourself. Okay.
So I dreamt I was living in a house that sort of felt like a childhood home, but I'm not sure at this point. I was standing in the dining room with my partner, and all of a sudden the power company came in like a SWAT team. They went to the basement, and I wondered what was wrong and if there was something going on with my furnace. They said that we were using too much power, and they turned off all the Christmas fairy lights I had on the inside the house. They just shut them off at the individual breakers to keep us from pulling too much power from the entire city, like I'd caused a blackout for everyone else by using too much power, but it was only my Christmas lights. Okay, so Christmas is a good symbol, represents your birth. It's about the celebration of Jesus and the birth of Jesus. So because it's about his birth, it's going to be about your birth, because everything in the dream is you. That's the first rule of analysis. So it's about you, and then the lights in the dream represent your psychic ability, your intuition, your strong intuition, or your light within, because you say that you emphasize that these are the lights inside the house, whereas I suppose we're in America. A lot of people illuminate the outside of the house, but yeah, okay. So it is your intuition, and we know your partner's in the stream, so it's about the relationship, and it's saying, so it's linking something that's going on now with your childhood, and the giveaway part is the SWAT team coming in and going down to the basement and turning off the lights, or turning off the breaker so that the lights go off. So it's like your partner is saying he wants a break from you doing all this spiritual rubbish, which is probably the way he looks at it. And so that's what that part represents. And how are the SWAT team dressed up? Are they all in black? Are they all in dark clothes, etc.? You know, they're the opposite of everything you're doing now, which is all about opening up. They'll be completely covered up. They'll even have helmets on usually, and so on. So, and not revealing themselves at all. So the total opposite of the way you want to be. The basement is about things that are suppressed or below conscious awareness. So this is, it says that while working on the issues with your mom, your partner is able to affect you and bring up stuff that goes way back, and it would probably more likely connect with your issues with your dad that you had in childhood because of the gender, but it doesn't have to be. It can be mom as well. So anyway, that's what it is. So what do you do when you have a dream like this? Because you want to always end on the positive. You realize that you, regardless of what somebody else says, don't believe that you're using your inner light too much and that you should shut it off. That's absolutely insane. So stick with the ability you already know you have in the face of people telling you that you shouldn't be doing it. Have I covered everything on there? Susan's meant to play devil's advocate today. Yeah. The individual breakers.
Yeah, well, this is her individual thing. Mm-hmm. So we all have powers, and the individual breakers would be pointing to her own. And it's probably 2 breakers turned off because that would be about channeling.
Individual from her partner,
yes,
you mean? Oh,
yes.
Right.
Yeah, so what you tend to find when people want you to act the way they want you to act, and they can be doing this, not necessarily consciously aware of how they're doing it. It's like a one-size-fits-all, type of approach. And so this is reminding you that it's an individual thing.
All right. Okay, so this next one is called tattoos. I see my brother taking off his shirt, and I see that he has a lot of tattoos on his chest and arms. I'm surprised by this, but because I never knew him to have tattoos, and always he was critical of people who did. Then I think of my son and realize that he no longer needs to worry about my brother's opinion of his tattoos and what he is going to say, because now he himself has them.
Okay, so here, this is an interesting one, because the dreamer tried to analyze it and couldn't figure it out themselves. What you do, the easiest way to look at your dreams is what's coming up in the dream. What's the theme here? And the theme is somebody who's being critical, but yet they do the very thing that they're critical of. And most people who are critical, they are that way. So it's saying to you, though, that you were in an environment where you were critical. So if this is an older brother, for instance, he could be standing in for dad. And then the other thing you'd have to ask yourself is, why should your son even receive a talking to from his uncle about anything he's doing? Unless you've agreed with that and let him say, okay, you can coach my son. So you're telling your son you needn't to be worried about my brother's opinion. So really you have to look at that and say, okay, why would you let other people's opinions affect you and also affect your son? But the dream is really going to be about it affecting you at the age your son is. So affecting you back when you were the age your son is today, or in the dream, not today. So that's what you need to work on. Not being affected by people who are critical, letting their critical nature go, and realize that you never know what people are like when they drop whatever attitudes that they've got themselves, because he takes off his shirt and you see that he's got these markings himself. And that a tattoo can mean a number of things, but it can be about, I don't know whether you've ever had any dreams saying you should write, but it can be about that. But it's also, it reminds you that there are things that there's contractual things that you've agreed to do in life. It's like you're marked. You've got this, I don't know how to explain it. Somebody explain it for me here, please. But I can tell you that's what it means.
You have been chosen.
You've been chosen. You volunteered.
Yeah.
It's like the contract is written on your body. And when you remove attitudes, like take off the clothes, you'll see this contract written on your skin. And it's not like this is something that's under your skin. It's something that's right there on the surface for you to see, and something that you need to be doing. And we expect that in the next dream. And in fact, it is.
So it's the same dreamer. He titled it Late to Work. I'm back working in the hospital, and I'm very late to even see who my patients are, or to start taking care of them. I don't even have their names written down. People at the hospital are warning me that I have patients to see, pointing out the census board with my name next to patients' names, and there are a lot of patients with my name next to theirs that I need to see, and I am worried about that. I'm thinking that I need to start seeing my patients as soon as possible. Then I wake up.
Yes, you do. So this is about you getting on with the spiritual work that you agreed to do. And, it's like the first one is the writings on the wall. It's like the writings on your body, so it's not even on the wall. But this is saying that being late to work is one of the easiest ways to recognize a dream that's about your karma. So you have a karmic obligation, and you can see that in the rest of the theme of the dream. You've agreed that you're going to help people, you're going to meet people, you're going to do whatever it is with them, whatever your abilities are. If healing is one of them, I don't know, can't remember, although I know I should know. So whatever it is, it's about, the dream is saying it's about time that you actually started doing that. And I know you had sent in dreams before where you were saying you had decided in this lifetime that you weren't going to do anything because that was okay, other people could do stuff. And I remember on the show ripping into you, saying you don't get to make that decision. So this dream is good because this shows you that you are now, you've turned it around and you said, okay, I think I need to get to work. And that's really good, to be commended. And I'm looking at the time. We're going to take a break and we'll be back in a moment. You're listening to So You Think You're Awake.
Kick off your new year by lightening up. Join me, Susan Pullen, for a restorative weekend class focused on re-energizing and getting back in touch with who you really are. Lightening Up, Reclaiming Your Wholeness, Vitality, and Power is coming on January 9th and 10th in Edmonds, Washington. Find details and register at true-radiance.com. It's the perfect start to a fresh year.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the Force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favourite colour?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com. Okay, listen up. This is important. Do you know your life purpose? Are you psychic? Do your dreams predict your future? Are you one of the X-Men? Your dreams give the answer to 3 of these questions. Find out which 3 by attending Michael Sheridan's Dream Workshop in Seattle on March 5th and 6th. Register at dream-analysis.com.
More choices, more topics, more shows. One station. Alternative Talk, 1150 AM.
Welcome back to So You Think You're Awake with Michael Sheridan, Susan Pullen and Heidi Brooke. Our show is about dreams and their meanings, and our phone number is 425-373-5527 if you have a dream or a dream-related question. Our symbol today is bats. So just quickly, it helps us lead into our topic. So bats in dreams represent normally that you are affecting somebody in a negative way. You're thinking badly about somebody. If you're the type of person who has flying dreams, well, a bat's going to symbolize the same ability. And that means that you have a strong mind, strong intellect. You're very persuasive. You'd be good in sales and marketing, that sort of mental strength. And so very persuasive. And then if you use that negatively, even if the person isn't in the room, but if you consistently think negatively about somebody, then you can have dreams about bats, which says that you're putting a dark shadow over them and you are literally affecting their energy. And that leads us into, so what do you do if you have that dream? Stop doing it. Be careful about how you think about people. If you don't have flying dreams, you don't have to worry because you didn't bring that ability with you. So
it's interesting that bats and vampires are the same thing.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of funny.
Well, it's only vampires because we think of the bats that, they turn into a bat and fly at you. But they drain your energy, which is what somebody who thinks negatively does. And draining energy is one of the things we talk about here. So spiritual protection. And this is to begin with, we're going to talk about protection during channeling. And when we do beginners channeling groups, a lot of the starting space is all about getting the energy transmuting the energy so everything's positive, so that there's no possibility for you attracting anything negative in the room. And a lot of people will be going, well, how could you even attract anything negative? And if you have that attitude, you won't. So it's really about getting you into the space where you believe that you can't attract anything negative. But there are negative spirits out there, just like there's negative people, and you're careful not to attract those into your life. So you need to be the same way with spirits. You want to attract your guides. When I started channeling first in Ireland years ago, we set up a circle that none of us in the circle were able to do it. And the first connections we ever made were not with guides, they were with spirits that had passed on. And their energy is much lower level than a guide's, much lower vibration, and they're easier to connect to. So if you're starting off, it's more likely you're going to connect with somebody like that. Although 20-something years later, I think the energy is much easier on the planet. Heidi, this should really be your forte, because you're going to teach a channeling class soon.
Yeah, soon. No, it's in the works. I just have to come up with a date. As you know, I'm expecting a baby soon, so there's that.
So it'll have to be before that then.
I could do it before. So when you're putting up protections when you're channeling, it's, I was talking to you about this the other day, Michael. I was like, how come I always have to get rid of negative spirits around me? How come I always have to rebuild the walls of protection and everything? And I'm thinking, are my energies low? Am I attracting this and everything? And I asked my guides, and my guides said, well, this is just something that you always have to do because there's always going to be negative spirits. So needing the protections and realizing that you may have negative entities around you isn't necessarily a reflection of you always, but it's definitely something you need to be aware of. So protections are necessary. And as a channel, when you're coming in, you're given these added protections, especially if you're meant to channel for masses of people. You have a certain spirit guides that help you with this. But also you need to remember that and build your awareness to where you can put up those protections yourself.
So you have spiritual bouncers.
Yeah, literally.
But you have to invoke them. So you have to
Yeah.
ask your guides to remove any negative entities or negative spirits that are influencing or misdirecting you while you're asking questions.
And the crisis comes from what they've described to me, I guess, is overconfidence. I don't need those protections because I've evolved beyond that.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people have that belief in themselves, which is kind of really, well, not kind of, it definitely is misplaced.
Well, it's good to be confident, but to think that you don't need help, that's one of the things your guides will always want to show you, that it's good to ask for help. No matter what, even if when you ask for help, you realize, okay, I hardly need any help here. But to get into the habit of asking for help, they really want you to do that before you transition to the next plane, because there's no point thinking, I've got everything I ever need, because you don't. You can always grow. So you ask if you can channel, and you can already hear your guides. So one of the things you do at the start is you ask your guides, is there any spirit here misdirecting me or misleading me? And you will hear at least one yes, if there is. And the one saying no is the one that's doing it. So as long as you get a yes, then you ask your guardian angels, not your guides, you ask your guardian angels to remove them. And then you ask again, and you're going to get that there's nobody misdirecting you. And the reason you ask your guardian angels, they're the guides that are with you from birth to death. So they're there with you the whole time. They practiced with you before you were born. So they can remove anybody on because they have an extra special connection with you. They can even move other guides on. So somebody else's guides could be over pestering you. So even though they're at an advanced level, they could still be wanting you to do something that's more in line with somebody else's purpose rather than yours. So, even that is a misdirection. And asking a guide to remove one of them, they won't, but your guardian angels will.
And there's also, as well as, when you were saying connecting to the passed on loved ones, I think it's important to note the difference between a message from a passed on loved one and a message from a guide, because the message from the passed on loved one isn't necessarily in alignment with your life purpose. And I do make a point to say that to people when they're asking them questions, because very much so, the messages from the loved ones can conflict completely with what the guides are saying.
Your father came through and he's saying, I think I left the toilet seat up.
Why aren't you married yet, Mary? Those kinds of things.
You should be taking care of your mother.
But they do happen, and it's important to recognize that somebody's guidance for you out of love is not necessarily the right guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. But what guides will often do, because it's easier to connect with a loved one who has passed on, and they usually do have your best interest at heart, your guides will quite often use them as an intermediary.
Yes, they do that.
Because you trust your dad or your mom or whoever's passed over, a close friend. And you have that bond with them already, and you can recognize the feeling of that bond. Whereas with your guides, you have to get to a point. But you do get to a point. You get to a point where you go, oh, I know I'm in this space because I really feel this connection. And I trust anything I get while I have this connection. The other thing is, if you're not able to get answers back that way and you use a pendulum, you can still check to see is there any negative influence. And a pendulum will normally swing clockwise for a yes and anti-clockwise for a no. It can be different for people. But if you ask, is there anybody misdirecting you, then the pendulum will try do both, if there is. And then again, you ask the same thing, ask your guardian angels to remove them, and then the pendulum will start acting properly. And that's very straightforward. But then you also have, what about people who are still alive? Say you were in business with somebody and you've a partner from an ex-business that went south, and they really hate the fact that it went south. They lost money and so on. And they're attacking you all the time. And it's like, that's why I did the bats. So somebody who's sending negative energy your way all the time. That will really be more, the question you have to ask there, is there somebody draining me? Because it's not really an attack. So if you ask, is anyone attacking me, you're going to be told no. But if you ask, is there anybody draining you, they will always say yes if somebody is thinking about you negatively. And again, you ask your guardian angels to remove them. In this case, you usually have to think of the person and say, okay, is it this person? Is it that person? And it could be a number of people, and remove them one at a time. But this one is really easy, because as soon as you do it, as soon as you think of that one person and you say, okay, remove them, your energy will lift immediately. You will feel that positive charge coming in really quickly. So that one's very, very easy to spot. The spiritual one isn't as easy to spot. You just have to trust that your guides are doing it. So is there anything else that we wanted to cover on that? It's the quietest you've ever been, Heidi.
I just think, that whenever I ask for protections or build them up, putting up protections is really easy. It's extremely easy. It takes seconds. And I think like I was saying, the part where people get confused about is they think they don't need them. But I think everybody should take time to put up protections, not just people who channel.
Even if you don't need it, it's no harm to ask for it, because it's not going to block anything positive in your life. So.
And it's much more difficult to remove a protection than put one up.
In fact, I wasn't going to say it, but yet I've written a book. It's finished, and it's going to come out either on the 3rd or 10th of January. And there's a small section in the book about this, about the experiences we had, which are kind of fun. It's a funny book, I hope. Not because of what happens to me, but just the way I wrote it. But I'm looking at, so this section was prompted by somebody who wrote in and asked about people who are psychically attacking you. And a lot of people think that's mad, but it's not quite mad. And one last thing to note is that you always want to clear the negative spiritual influences, the spirit influences, before clearing people. Because if you have somebody who has a spirit aligned with them, somebody who's negative but has a spirit who's on their side, if you ask, is that person draining me or attacking me, you can be told no, even though they are, because they're doing it via a spirit. And once you remove the spirit, then when you ask, is that person draining me, you're going to be told yes, because they are. Anyway, it's one worth noting. And it's so simple. It's like it takes seconds really to do this. There isn't like you don't have to hop on one foot and chant anything. It's you just have to think about clearing the space. If you can visualize, you can also visualize your aura getting cleared, and that helps. But it really only takes about 10 seconds to do the whole thing.
Yeah. So this is an area I work with clients on too, clearing kinds of things. But one of the other things that I've found is helpful for people, especially when you're starting to channel, is getting to know what your energy feels like, so that you know when there's another energy influencing you. Yeah, it
is important. But you think in the beginning you don't realize in the beginning how fast you'll get to the space. But like when we did the channeling group here in Seattle, for a few months we put the protective energy space up, and then we didn't need it anymore. We could all just channel without that. So you quickly get to that space where you're able to protect your own energy, and that's what it's all about. But we were talking about this. So you do that. You even do it remotely, which is also something that people who aren't into this field think is ludicrous. I was trying to find a word, but ludicrous works.
Yeah. Well, they say anyone who can bless can also curse. It's the same thing as like if you have dreams about flying.
It is, yeah.
Then you have the potential to do, remote healing work, but you also have the potential to negatively impact other people by thinking about them badly.
You do, and you go to some cultures and you can pay for a blessing or a curse.
Yeah. Yep.
I want
Which
a blessing.
Costs more.
I want a blessing to get this job, and I want a curse on everybody else who's applying, and they'll do it. I find that really weird that, how can you be spiritually aware and ever do anything negative on somebody else? But people do it. Yeah. You also do chakra balancing, which is also a huge thing that's very positive for trying to channel.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's it. We're going to get an That's the full description.
Well,
sell yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, because, chakras, well, most of our listeners probably know this, but right, they're the energy centers of the body. And so when there's flow in our energetic system, then it helps us to be in divine flow and in the flow with our guides.
And we usually channel through one or other chakra. Mm-hmm. Don't have to, but we usually do 95% of the time. So, okay, unless anybody has any other points they want to raise.
So I just wanted to add to what you said about, in the group, we focused on being in a positive space and like bringing positive feelings in as a setup to help prepare us.
And now we did it a bit, it was a lot more structure than just think positively.
Yes. Right. That's what I wanted to talk a little more about. Like we sent love to each other.
Yes.
And this is something, if you're doing it on your own, you can, think of people that you love and who love you, and think of things that you're grateful for and things like that just raise your energy, you know.
It's better to think of one of your kids rather than your partner, for instance, because just as you're about to channel, you'll think, they didn't do that last week. Damn it. But yeah, it's usually thinking of a child, even if you have older children, if you think of them when they're very young, it just instantly raises your energy.
Mm-hmm.
It brings you back there. So, okay. Will we take another break so that we have a full launch into the dreams when we're back? You're listening to So You Think You're Awake. Okay, listen up. This is important. Do you know your life purpose? Are you psychic? Do your dreams predict your future? Are you one of the X-Men? Your dreams give the answer to 3 of these questions. Find out which 3 by attending Michael Sheridan's Dream Workshop in Seattle on March 5th and 6th. Register at dream-analysis.com.
How clear is your vision for your life? Are you living on purpose, bringing your dreams to reality? I can help you to hear the quiet voice of your heart, guiding you in the right direction. I'm Susan Pullen with True Radiance Healing Arts. Let's talk about how you can create the life you want and be the person you were born to be. Contact me today at true-radiance.com.
Hello, this is Heidi. How can I help you?
You tell me. You're the psychic.
That's not how it works. I am a medium. I connect to your spirit guides and loved ones and pass on their messages to you.
So why did I call? Use the force, Heidi.
Look, I can get answers to any questions you ask. That's not a problem. They can be about anything: relationships, career, children, finances, anything.
Anything? Okay. What's my favorite color?
Dave, your mom says you're being childish.
For readings with Heidi, go to angelsontheline.com.
Alternative Talk 1150 is now being broadcast in digital quality on FM 98.9 HD3. So rejoice, you early adopters of technology.
Welcome back to So You Think You're Awake with Michael Sheridan, Susan Pullen and Heidi Brooke. Our show is about dreams and their meanings, and our phone number is 425-373-5527 if you have a dream or dream-related question. Susan, you have a course coming up that you can finally tell us about. It's no longer a secret.
Yes. It's called Lightening Up, Reclaiming Wholeness, Vitality, and Power. And it's coming up January 9th and 10th. And it ties in with actually some of what we were just talking about because the weekend is all about clearing out stuff that isn't you, and balancing your energy, reestablishing the flow of energy, so that you can come into the new year really, really feeling good and strong and more fully yourself. So, yeah.
Very good. Well, I'm going to have to take lessons. Your ad sounded very positive there. So, have you been paying people to do ads for you? All right. Well, let's have a look at some more dreams then. We've got one. Chasing red balloons. I think I might have skipped one.
So, I'm on the seashore and there's a mountain range behind me. I'm wearing a white dress and no shoes. I hear the laughter of children. I begin walking along the shore and then I see a bunch of red balloons filled with helium rising before me. I run towards the balloons to try to catch them, but no matter how fast I run, the balloons keep rising higher and higher. I hear the laughter of the children intensify because they think it's a game and are amused. I can't get the balloons and begin walking back. When I return to where I started, there's an ice cream vendor cart on the beach with a bunch of balloons tied to the handle. There's a man wearing a white shirt and pants and a white paper hat near the cart. He's handing out balloons and ice cream to the children. He's the only other adult on the shore besides me. There are a bunch of children getting ice cream and balloons and having a great time on the beach. I sit near the edge of the water and the waves touch my feet. Okay,
so I can imagine this dreamer laughing at the idea of somebody trying to catch the balloons herself. So this dream is, it's more of a theme dream. The white is all about childhood innocence. And it's saying the balloons are about goals and trying to achieve your goals, trying to reach your goals, actually, be more accurate, because of the way it's described in the dream. And you're having difficulty, or at least you perceive you're having difficulty reaching your goals. But the dream is saying, look, the way to get to your goals, to reach them, is to treat yourself. Go have an ice cream. It's not saying literally go have an ice cream, but treat yourself, pamper yourself. It's not about punishing yourself and doing, not having certain things so that you can achieve your goals. This dream is saying the opposite for you. It's about having fun, about concentrating on doing the things that you're having fun, planning them into your life. And when you're in that space, the balloons will be right there, just like they're tied to the ice cream cart handle. And this guy is a guide, the one handing out the ice creams. He's a healer, so it's talking about your healing ability. And so he's showing you how easy it is. You're meant to have fun. You're meant to have a childhood attitude to these things, where everything's magical, wonderful, and fun. Like the kids in the dream are all about having fun, and that's what you're being asked to do. And that's the philosophy. That's the approach you're to take because of the beach.
So is it like make a game out of meeting your goals? Yeah,
but realize it is a game. For her, it is a game. So it's don't take it too seriously. Realize who you are now is your avatar. There's somebody else has the control, and you want to be in alignment with that control, and then you're not going to be having difficulty reaching the goals. So it's all about have fun and reminding you to have fun. Did I answer it?
Yes. Anything else about ice cream? Is ice cream just because it would be a treat for the dreamer? Or
in this case, because a guide is handing it out, and he's even wearing like a silly paper hat, so he's showing you to have fun. So it's like your guides don't take you as seriously as you take you. would be the way to put this. Okay.
And again, we have the red and white color combination.
Yeah, always a very good color combination. That is so invigorating. Usually when you have a dream with those two colors in it, you wake up feeling completely recharged. That's the whole purpose of those two colors. Who's that on the phone, Heidi?
Sorry. Am I fired?
I keep telling you, you're not fired. There's no way you're getting out of this. So let's have a look at another one.
So I was staying in a 2-story house hotel because of Dad. The manager was a crazy old lady. White hair, frail. Then a bear got into the hotel and chased me around through a lot of empty, dilapidated rooms that were interconnected in odd ways with doors and that didn't lock. The manager was not helpful. I eventually got out, but someone I didn't know was eaten by the bear and I heard about it later. As such, later I went to perform a song about the experience on a radio show, Wild Tales. I said that my heart went out to all those who have suffered and I advocated for better wildlife legislation and that the hotel be torn down and remodeled. Some of it was, to all those who have caused their sons and daughters irrefutable pain, it needs to stop. Think of their pain, take responsibility and do the right thing. Tear down the old hotel and make it a safe place. I don't remember the next part of my dream, just that part. I woke up feeling scared and hurt. And with a heavy heart but oddly determined, I'm not saying I completely understood the dream, but I felt like I understood the feelings.
And a lot of the time, that's what a dream is about. It's about the feelings. It's about getting you into a certain predicament that will bring up that feeling. And quite often in life, we find ourselves pushing against the predicament because we think that's, it's an obstacle in our lives, whatever it is, difficulty with a mortgage, whatever it happens to be for you. But that predicament is quite often required to bring up a feeling, which is the very thing you need to work on. And so what we find in life is events happen later in our lives that will bring up the feeling of something we had in childhood, the feeling around something that happened in childhood. So here, this dream starts off with being in a hotel. And so it's bringing you back to your reception at birth, where you say it's a 2-story hotel. So the 2-story can be about 2 threads. Or it's definitely going to be about your second year, so first and second years. And the manager is a crazy old lady. Well, that's going to be your mom, even if you left out the crazy part. The old lady is your mom. You say you're there because of Dad. You don't give any explanation. So we know issues with parents when you started off in life. then a bear gets into the hotel and chased me around. So one of your parents is like a bear, somebody you had to avoid. They were relentless, didn't let you away with things, whatever way you want to imagine this. Someone gets eaten by the bear and you heard about it later. Well, the someone is you. So you're the one affected, or an aspect of you was affected in this childhood by one of your parents. And then you go to sing a song about the experience on a radio show. Now, we don't know anything about you, so we don't know, for instance, do you work on the radio? Do you sing normally? That would all be significant and important to know. If you don't, then it says that it's like a flying dream. You've got an ability to project your mind, and in this case, you're using it for a very positive purpose. You're healing people who have been affected in childhood. So if that's the case, if it doesn't match what you do in life, then this dream is saying you would be good working with groups of people to help them heal from the issues that happened earlier in their lives. But you have it there in a nutshell, tear down the hotel. So that's eliminate the effects of the reception you did have and build up something new in its place. And it's not about what happened to us. It's always about how we carry the effect of that. So we obviously can't heal the past, but you will quite often hear therapists talking about healing the past. And really it's about replacing the memories by dealing with the issues that came up, replacing those memories with something that's positive, because there's always positive things too. But it's not just a swap out. You have to feel the feeling and express the feeling, and then when you've expressed it fully, then you're in the best space for a therapist to do something and lock in a really positive space. You wanted to say something, Susan? You're just looking inquisitively.
No.
Okay, am I missing anything that I wanted to say here? You said that my heart went out to all those who suffered. So this is an emotional thing. So most likely going to be connected with mom, even though you say you're in the hotel because of dad. So what have we got next?
This one is called Cellist at a Distance. A beautiful girl is a member of a symphony orchestra. She plays the cello, but because her instrument is so big and loud, she must play at a distance from the rest of the orchestra in order for the resulting sound of the combined instruments to be heard in proper balance. She plays a few 100 feet away from the orchestra, across an empty field, but in clear sight of it.
Okay, it's a really short and interesting dream. So it says that the dreamer is a channel, but here she's not playing in the orchestra with the rest of the orchestra. She's playing at a distance, and this is kind of like, you've probably told people information in the past, and the too loud would be a reference to it struck them hard, and the reaction you got is not something you liked or something they liked, and that makes you now be distant with your ability. Whatever it happens to be, the dream is saying, please don't be distant. That's not it. It's all about getting to the space where you realize, give your guides the responsibility for the message that's coming through. Your part is passing it on. And of course, try pass it on in as careful a way as you can and as delicate a way as you can. But the messages from the guides, how you pass it is yours. And if you say something to somebody that jars with them or did jar with them, then that is very likely what was needed to happen that person. And it's like a short, sharp slap to the face that makes you stop, realize what you're doing, and wonder, why did that just happen? What do I need to change? Because I don't want that to happen again. But it's definitely saying that you've got this ability and you're in tune with your guides. That's what the whole orchestra thing is about. And it's only you feel that it's coming across too harsh. I'm going to say harsh, even though you say loud.
Do you want to say something about the empty field?
Yeah, I think this person would make she feels isolated, so she would make a good counsellor. So probably a lot of what she would get, the type of information she would get, she would be good at passing it on. But what she probably did is try to channel for somebody or help somebody who was very close And quite often the people who are close, because we already have an energy dynamic with these people, they can be the hardest people to get through to. So when you've got a strong skill, it's quite often much easier to use it on somebody that you don't already have an energy relationship with. And this is true for anything. Same with healing. You know, you can be the best singer in the world. Like Adele's mom probably thinks she's okay. You know?
Okay, so this next one, just a short dream. I dreamt that a man I know was manipulating me and some friends in a group text chat. Their question is, does that mean he's really manipulative, as that was the subject of the group chat I was recently in, or does it mean that I am being manipulated about his true nature and he's not manipulative, but someone is manipulating me to think about him?
Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean anything other than the fact that it was a topic of a group chat. Once it becomes a concern, so it is a concern of yours, then it can show up in a dream just because it's a concern. So that's quite often the way our dreams are. They're going to use whatever's going on in our lives as the backdrop. And then it's something else in the dream is going to be the important thing. But you can channel, so you can easily get the answer to this one.
And this is from the same dreamer, just another quick symbol and question. If I'm on the cover of a blue book in a dream with a blonde woman and another woman, 3 total, and also see Dolly Parton on a book, is that about giving readings or channeling, writing a book?
Now, she says Dolly Parton had a see-through white blouse, and that's important. So this is about the dreamer has the ability to nurture others, and that's what the see-through white blouse is about. So she already knows she can channel. She kind of questions it because she's channeled from such a young age. She doesn't really know what it feels like to channel because she's always channeled. You know, it's like, how do you explain that one? If you've never channeled and you learn how to do it, then you know what it feels like to channel. But because you've always been doing it, it's just natural for you. It's like, how do you breathe? I don't know. It's automatic.
Like being a fish in the water and you don't know you're in the water.
Exactly. So she's got that but her channeling will work by helping her to nurture other people. And Dolly Parton, of course, symbolizes a channel because she's a singer as well. She
also writes children's books about nurturing. I just wanted to point that out, yes, because I've bought some of them. Oh,
that's funny. Okay, so perfect. So it all ties in that you should nurture others. And I think you have a 7-year-old, so maybe work. Sometimes it's good to look at life fresh through the eyes of your child, through the eyes of your daughter, and say, okay, I'm already nurturing her. So how is it working there? Or not that it's about working with your daughter. This is about you nurturing others, large groups of people. So, and giving readings, because we had that in the dream too. So I'm looking at the time. We are running out. Is there one that I really wanted to do? I wanted to do Sandra's. We're going to have to hold them off till next week. So let's do this tires in my dreams.
So we had a question from a listener. I would appreciate if you could let me know, what does big black car tires mean? I had this dream that my sitting room was full of big black tires and people were coming to purchase them.
So the purchasing them is interesting. So it's saying the black is about fears and the tires are about the heart because they're circular. And it says you need to eliminate fears from your heart. That's what the black tires are going to be. And also the fact that you're selling them, you're getting rid of them. And why is it that you're getting money for getting rid of them? It's saying that by doing so, by eliminating these fears from your heart, it'll pay you dividends. So there'll be rewards for you working on yourself this way. So what else have we got that we can do that's short?
I've got this flat tire?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I got a flat tire left front wheel. I took it to be fixed as I was on my way to pick up my daughter from school, and I seemed to be quite a long distance away from her school. No matter how much I explained that the flat tire just happened, the people I spoke with left me under the impression that I was trying to hide some kind of big crime. The flat never got fixed, and I woke myself up explaining out loud that I swore I didn't provoke this.
Okay, and this is from a different dreamer. But the tire is going to be the same thing. It's about the heart. And the front left is also about the heart, but left is the female side. So it's saying it's about an inability to move forward, pursuing your goals because it's connected to a car, because of issues of the heart that hold you back. And so the issues of the heart are going to be something that blocks you from sharing yourself, making you, like in this dream, you say, people you were left under the impression that you were trying to hide some kind of big crime. So this hiding comes up in the dream. Of course, you're not hiding anything. At least the dream doesn't want you to. It wants you to share yourself. So what it does here is it brings up this emotional battle designed to show you what you try to avoid. So you don't really get into sharing because you have difficulty with that. So that's what you need to work on. And we have more of your dreams that we're going to do next week. But that's us for this week. So I want to remind you, I have a course on the March 5th and 6th. Remember, you can get our contact details and archives of all previous shows on dream-analysis.com. Thanks to our producer and engineer, Eric Ryder. Thanks to Susan. Thanks to Heidi. And until next week, we'll leave you with this quote. Every accomplishment starts with the decision to try.
Thanks for listening.